What are the technology stack you are working on currently?
Yeah, so as in total, I have around 5 years and 5 months of experience, out of which first 3 years I was working with TCS. So there I was working as a full stack developer with technologies like HTML, CSS, AngularJS, Bootstrap. For backend, I was working on Java, Spring, and after leaving TCS, I joined Accenture. So here I'm working for a project called Ingenico ePayments, and it's like here I have two roles. One is a backend development role. So here I do total backend development itself with technologies like Java, Spring Boot, microservices. For versioning system, we use Git, Jenkins, CI/CD, and all this thing. And for the other role I am having is a Scrum Master role. So I'm a certified Scrum Master as well. And other than that, I also do some other stuffs as well. So there is one friend of mine who was having a startup, so I was helping him out in solving few problems. So there I've created two applications for him. One is a chatbot, which was basically working on WhatsApp. So without any human intervention, if some customer is sending some request on WhatsApp, it will be the bot is able to revert back with the proper answer. So that was one thing which I did, um, and the second was an Android application. That was an e-commerce application which I've created and deployed successfully on Play Store. So as of now, it is working absolutely fine. So yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, okay, fine. So, which version of Java you are currently working
So
on?
currently I'm working with Java 8.
Java 8,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so can you tell me some of the features added in Java 8?
So we have features like lambda expressions, function interfaces, few function interfaces like function, supplier, consumers, predicate. Then after that we have method reference, constructor reference. Then after that we have stream API, date API. So yeah,
Okay, okay, fine. So, can you please share your screen?
yeah, sure. Sorry. I think, I hope you're able to see the screen now. I think my camera will not work as I joined through.
Okay, no problem. Okay, please open Notepad.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, assume that we have list of employee objects.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what I want is using Stream API, you have to filter and return whose employee ID is 100.
Okay. So we'll do something like this. List employee, maybe filtered employee, maybe this can be equal to. So as you mentioned, we have a list API dot stream dot filter, and what we need to filter. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, employee ID equal to 100.
Okay. I think this will work for us.
Okay, this returns list, but what I want is only one employee object.
Okay, you need only one employee object.
Yeah, matching employee object, only one.
Okay, so stream dot, okay, so one single object. No? So okay, stream dot filter. So First object. So from this also we can, as in we can get it, because files dot filter employee dot get zero will be getting the single employee only, no?
Yeah, correct. This also correct, but I want only the return type is only employee, not the list.
Okay. Mm, so if we wanted to have single employee,
Yeah, okay, fine, no issues. Can you write one? What is the use of lambda expression? Why we need? What is the benefit?
so lambda expression we basically need if we wanted to give an implementation of any of the abstract class of an interface, that is functional interface. So if that is the case, so previously, just take an example now. We have a thread, that is a runnable interface we have, and we have a single method, that is run method, and we wanted to give an implementation. So before Java 8, what we need to do is we need to create our own class, and in that we need to override the run method, and then we will be giving the interface into the implementation of that run method into that class. But now what happens is, as we have Java 8, we can directly give the implementation by using lambda expression for run method within the class where we have main method, or maybe where we wanted to have some execution kind of thing. So that is basically reduces the space, as we need not to create one another class for that. So that is the first thing. And the second thing what we have is, it is kind of more into the functional programming it gives.
Okay, okay. Can you write one example for comparable or comparator? Assume that we have list of employees and sort it based on name, employee name.
Okay, okay. So compared to, I think we have, so in compared to we have one object. Yes, I think so. This will be something like this. Object obj1 maybe. So first thing we'll be checking if just return. So, so if this is the case, then in this scenario we will just return 0. Okay. And now this is not the case, so what we'll do is, so we have employee object, so employee e1 equal to this, employee e2 equal to obj1. Now what we'll do is e1 e1 dot name equal to, sorry, dot equals e2 dot name, then we will return 0 if e1 dot, or else this all things are not even required. What we can do is, This is okay, this is fine. The only thing which we can change is here itself. So as we can just do one thing, just return e1 dot name dot compare to e2 dot name. I think this will also work for us, as string class has already implemented that compare to method.
Hmm. Okay, so what is difference between comparable and comparator?
So comparable is
Wh-
something where we are okay with the natural default nature sorting order, whereas comparator is something if we want to implement our own like if we want to implement our own logic for comparison of two objects. So in this scenario we should go for comparator.
Hmm. Okay, so what are the collections you worked on
So
mostly?
collections I work with list, then
Hmm.
set and map as well.
Okay, okay. You know how map works internally?
Yes, so map basically it uses two functions mostly. So what happens is the map is divided into blocks. So for example, when we are trying to insert the value, the first thing which happens is it calculates the key hash code for that key, and according to that hash code it finds which block number it will be going to. So for example, the block number comes 1. So in this scenario what will happen, the execution will go at the block number 1 and it will try to compare each and every value, like each and every key which is already present into it in a linked list kind of structure. So there it compares by using equals method. So each and every key will be compared by equals method, and if the key, if it finds like the key is already present, then in this scenario we will be overriding the same value and we will return the overridden value. And if it is not same, then in this scenario at the last of that linked list we will add one more value.
Okay, so what is rehashing?
Rehashing, not sure about that, not sure about that.
Okay, so do you know what are the changes happened in Java 8 for a hash map?
I think there is one change which happened is basically um, about the structure. What we say is, so previously what was happening, we will have a only linked list kind of structure into the blocks, whereas in Java 8 what happened is they have changed, like if there is a threshold value, I think it is 8. So if there is total number of linked list nodes are 8, in this scenario it will convert that linked list into the binary tree, so that it will be really helpful for the for searching. It will be fast for searching.
Okay, okay, you know equals and hash code methods, right?
Yes.
Okay, assume that I am overriding equals and hash code.
Okay.
So hash code I am always returning some constant 100.
Okay.
Okay, in equals I am always returning true.
Okay.
So now what I will do, I will create three employee objects
Okay.
and I will put into map.
Okay. Okay.
So what will be the size of the map?
It will always going to be employee object is acting as a key for us, correct?
Yeah, key.
Yeah, so I think it will going to have only single object. Like say the size will be always going to be one.
Okay, what if I return false always? What will be the
If we are
size?
returning false always, then it will be, I think 3 it will be then.
Okay. So, okay, you know what is the backbone data structure of array list?
Backbone data structure of, sorry,
Array list.
array list. I think it's growable list.
Sorry, growable list.
Yes. Sorry, growable array. I think there was something like that. Growable array.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, you know oops concepts, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so can you give me? one example for encapsulation.
Yeah, encapsulation, the best example is car maybe. So for example, we have cars, so we have different methods like drive, turn left, turn right. So those are the basically methods, and the function or the parameters which it has, or the variables which it has is a tire or steering wheel, and we have engine. So those are the variables or parameters into it. So that is combinedly forms a encapsulated class.
Mm, okay. Okay. So what are the design patterns?
So design pattern, I've worked with singleton, then factory, stack factory, then I've worked with builder design pattern, I've worked with adapter, I've worked with proxy.
Okay. So what is proxy pattern?
So proxy design pattern is something where we have a requirement, we don't want to um, give the original object to the user. So instead of using the original object, we will be creating a proxy object, and the proxy object will be used for doing those transactions or doing those operations. So best example is an account number, like account, basically bank account. So to access a bank account, we don't give a direct object of bank account. What we do is we give the proxy objects like SBI, a debit card, something like that. So that is what a proxy design pattern is.
Okay. So have you worked on executor framework?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what is the use of executor?
So executor framework is basically used, like for example, if we have a requirement just take an example, we have very few small things to do as in the operations, but there are hundred of operations which are there which we need to perform. So there is a list of operations or a pool of operations which we need to do, but each and every pool of operation will have very small things to do. So in this scenario, creating a thread and then destroying a thread is going to be very costly as compared to creating a pool of thread and using those again and again. So that is the same logic behind the thread pool or executor service we have. So executor service API gives us the features to create a pool of threads, and each and every thread lifecycle will be maintained by that thread pool or executor service API itself. So when we are submitting the jobs to that thread pool, it will start working on that jobs. Once the one job is done, again the thread pool, the thread which is in thread pool, again it will pick up one more job and will start working on it. So this is how executor service works.
Okay. So what is immutable class? Why we need to create immutable classes?
Yes. So basically, immutability is required. Like for example, the best example is string. So string immutability is required if we don't want to, if we want any of the user not to change the value. Whatever the value we are supplying, he should be able to use the same value. If he is trying to change the value, then the new object should be created and should start referencing to that object. So that is what we say as an immutability concept and why it is required.
Okay. So Spring, right?
Yes.
Okay. Which version of Spring you are using?
So I am working on Spring Boot with 3.6, I think 3.6 is the version.
Spring Boot 3. Okay. Okay. Can you write one example for auto wiring?
Yeah, I think auto wiring, as in we just need to do this, and then whatever is the class. So for example, there is payment service. So this will be, and then after that we can auto wire through constructor. So for example, this is a controller class. So payment, sorry, public. Yeah, I think this will work for us. Auto wiring as
Okay. So, okay. At line number 18, you are saying at auto wire, right? So, what type of auto wiring is it by name or by type?
well. So it will be by type.
Okay. So, if I want to use by name, then what we have to do?
So I think there is one more. It's like something like this. We can name equal to, and then we can provide the name here, whatever the name it is. So according to that, it will change it to by name.
Mm. Okay. You know how Spring Boot works internally?
Yes, yes. So basically what happens is whenever we are starting an application at that point of time, first thing what Spring Boot do is it checks each and every annotations into it. So there is an annotation called at the rate Spring Boot application. So which is basically a combination of three annotations. One is at the rate Spring Boot itself. Second is at the rate enable configuration. So that enable configuration auto configuration, sorry, so it basically enables so we have created few configuration files into our application. One is maybe a data source file, second maybe some certificate related files. So there can be any files of configurations which we have created. So those configurations will be auto enabled, and it will be configured according to like it will be configured by Spring Boot itself because of that at the rate configuration annotation. And after that we have a component scan. So that component scan basically scans each and every component within the within that within that file path, and it will check what are the beans which are available to get created kind of thing. So we are auto wiring, if we are adding at the components, so those all are the beans will be created, and it will be there into IOC container at the time of we are starting an application. So one that is done, again after that it will the Spring Boot application will start with the configuration of this Tomcat server. So that configuration is basically enabled by Spring Boot itself internally. So once that is also done, now we are done with the starting of an application. Now whenever we are getting the request, the first request comes to the dispatcher servlet, where it checks that to which controller it is basically we need to divert it to, we need to delegate it. So according to that controller, it will be delegated to that controller. There it will basically, it will first it will find the path mapping and everything, and according to that path mapping, the method will be decided. After that, whatever the operations we wanted to perform, business logic and DAO layer, that all things are basically performing on the service layer and DAO layer. After that, it will be returning back to the same path kind of thing.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Can you write one example for post mapping REST API?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
REST Spring REST API.
Okay,
Can you write one example for post mapping?
yes, there's something how we do it. Mapping. Then we need to write a path equal to whatever is the path, like version 1. And then we can write produces is equal to application slash JSON, and okay, sorry, so that we can write consumes same application slash JSON. And once this is done, then we have at the rate request mapping that we can write anywhere, either on the top of this or anywhere. Then we have public public um, maybe string we will do, or maybe any type, like I'm just writing string as well. So string, then we will have say data. In this, whatever the type of variable we are taking, so for example user data is the type data. And after that, here we can actually write our own logic, like whatever the logic we wanted to write. If you want to call this maybe direct return payment service dot save data kind of thing, something like that. And think this can work for us.
Okay, okay, okay. So what are the currently you are working on UI? Which framework you are using for UI?
UI, as in the current organization, I don't work with UI as I
Okay, do you know React?
no. In my previous organization, I was working with AngularJS, but that was around 3.5, 2.6 years later. But as in current
Oh,
organization, we don't have any UI. We don't have any project itself in the UI.
hmm, okay. So okay, how you are connecting to database?
So as of now, we start. Previously, we were working with JDBC template, but now from last I think 6 months, we started working with Hibernate.
Hibernate. Okay. So how to configure a Hibernate in Spring?
So as in we just need to create one configuration file, that is I think hpa config.xml file. So that is the only file which we need to create, and there we will be defining each and every parameter what we have. So once that is done, we will be able to do it. And the second best way is about Spring JPA we can use. In the Spring JPA, we just need to define the properties in the application.properties file, and after that, in the there will be a configuration file which we need to create, and in this configuration file, we can create an object of pool data source. So we are using pool data source as an for the creating data source. So we create an object of that by setting each and every parameter, and then we do that. Yeah, we return that object and we use the same object.
Okay. So have you implemented second level cache anytime?
No, 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 no.
Okay. So you know about first level cache? What is first level cache?
First level cache, I think it basically works on session and session factories, which is basically implemented by Hibernate itself. So if we are calling any session or session factory, we are calling any query again and again. In this scenario, it will basically cache it in memory data, and whenever we are calling again, it will basically give us from the cache memory instead of getting it from the database.
Okay. Okay, Sandeep, that's it my side. Okay.
Yes, yes.
We'll update you the feedback.
Sure,
Okay.
sure, sure. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you, Sandeep.
Bye.
Bye.